Welcome, everyone. This is Jessie Rodriguez Melendez, and I am coming to you live from New York. And tonight, joining me is a very special guest. We have Coach Sal Giardina, who's going to be coming on with me to talk about what's happening from state to state. As many know, we were in Florida for quite some time, building our homeschool. And he was a big part of what we were doing in Tampa. And so I thought it would be so appropriate for me to have him on tonight. He's a veteran coach with over 30 years experience, has run multiple teams, college, high school coach for the Sefner Christian Academy in Tampa. And so, Coach Sal, I want to bring you on with us.
Hey, how
Welcome,
y'all
welcome,
doing?
welcome. How are you?
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's so awesome to have you here with me. First off, let me first say thank you so much for taking time tonight to be with us. I also wanted to thank God that you guys are well and safe and healthy. I'm very,
Yes.
very, I'm very thankful for that. And so I'll have you talk a little bit, Coach Sal, and I'll have you formally introduce yourself. But before I do that, I just wanted to say that the last couple of months for you have been quite challenging. And so
Yes.
I know that you've been on the mend now for quite some time. And so now with this quarantine, I know that you've had some time to relax, which you probably needed to do anyway. But I'm sure that you've done a lot of reflecting and, like us, a lot of praying. So welcome to the show. And why don't I have you introduce yourself, and we'll talk about a few things tonight. I'm going to have you talk about what's happening in Florida, and we'll shed
Okay.
some light on what's happening with baseball right now and youth sport and all of that with all of this Corona craziness. And then we'll talk about what our relationship had started to be like through our baseball homeschool. Because you've been such a big part of that from the time that we started it in Tampa, and then we'll talk about the future and what does our future hold for us and youth athletes in the next couple of months and even farther than that. So let me have you formally introduce yourself so we know a little bit more about you.
All right. Like I said, my name's Sal Giardina. I'm actually going on my 40th year of coaching. I know I don't look old enough to be coaching 40 years, but um, I coached down at Lynn University for 3 years. I was an assistant for 2 years and a head coach for a year, and then moved up to Tampa and coached. Got into high school baseball. Now it's my 4th year at Sefner Christian as a head coach at Sefner Christian, which has been a great journey for the last 4 years. So it's been I've been around. I have a baseball organization called Bullets Baseball. I
Mm-hmm.
started that organization back in 1998, so it's going on its 21st year. With the travel ball organization, we have teams from 8 years old all the way through 18 years old. It's been a great ride with that organization. We've had some great players coming through the organization. A lot of players going to play college baseball, and we've had a number of players playing pro baseball.
So with all the experience that you've had throughout the years, and I know that Tony and you met. Tell me how you and Coach Tony made the connection.
Me and Coach Tony made a connection. I think it was like 3 years ago, or yeah, 3 years ago, or 2 years ago. We actually he brought a team down, and we were in the tournament together. And me originally being from New York, I get you have that New York connection with New Yorkers. So me and Tony would we ended up playing in the finals um, with his Yankee team. They ended up beating us in the finals. You know what? So if you can't beat them, join them. You know what? So it was great to have Tony last summer come over and coach with me, and some of the players that played against us the year before came down and played with us last year, and we ended up winning that both the 16s and 18s of the same tournament that you guys beat us in last year. So again, it's a perfect thing. You know what? You can't beat them, join us, and it was such a great thing to have Tony, Coach Tony, come on and coach with me. I've been around the game a long time, and I've learned so much from him. And you know what? He has just such a unique way to connect with the ball players, and get so much out of ball players. And there were times I just sat back and let him do his thing, and just was amazed on watching how guys reacted and how guys performed underneath him.
And I thank you for saying that, Coach Sal. He feels the same way about you, by the way. So the feelings are mutual. Um, One of the things that I really loved about spending time and watching you coach is that you're so much like Tony. You're very passionate about your players. You really love them. It shows. It's not fake. Your
Right.
players really know that you love them and care about them. And that's why I know for us, genuinely, we felt that immediate connection to you, and felt like it was the right connection for us for what we were wanting to do with our homeschool program in Tampa. And as
Right.
you know, we got down to Tampa. It was a challenge for us at first because we needed to register the school through Florida State Athletics. So you helped us get that done, and then we were so psyched, the boys, just being in Tampa every day and training and getting to experience what it's like with players down south. We hear that all the time up here in the north, how different it is down south because the boys get to play all year round. How they're extremely competitive, and they and we did get to witness that extreme. It was a lot of competition. But you are a New Yorker, and from what I understand, you're a big sports fan overall, right? But you're an Islanders.
Yes, I
You're a
am.
big
Yes, I am.
Islanders
I'm a New York
fan.
Islanders fan. Yep.
So you travel often back to New York.
Yes.
And I know that most of your coaching has been in Florida, but what was the experience like? You saw our boys come down, they got to play with you, got to you integrated them with your boys, which we loved. It was so exciting for us to know that our boys were getting the advantage and the privilege of playing with a Florida team, although they are true New Yorkers. These boys actually all come from the Bronx. They come from our original facility in the Bronx.
Right.
And so, tell us what that was like for you as a coach, having these New Yorkers come and join your team I know that they got to play with the Bullets and then even a little bit with the high school team.
Well, you know what the great thing is, being a New Yorker. I coached up in New York. I played in New York, and I had an opportunity to come play baseball in Florida in college, and I got that opportunity based on a New York scout out in Long
Mm,
Island. He wanted to prove scout down here in Florida that guys from New York could come down to Florida and play ball, and
mm,
guys that are don't play all year round could come down here and compete. And what ended up happening, without informing all of us guys that he recruited, he gave us all the same scholarship. Didn't tell us. We all played against each other over the summer. We all showed up in college, and at registration, we're like, "How are you here?" And he's like, "Well, Vince gave us a scholarship. They gave us
mm,
all the same scholarship." And so we all came down here and competed. Then we ended up. It was at a small school in Fort Lauderdale. We were there for a year. They dropped the program, and that's how we went to Lynn University. We were there for Lynn University's first year. They had a program. So that's how I got an opportunity to come down to Florida and play ball. So when our guys come down here, I tried a couple of years ago. I'd go to New York and I'd get two or three guys from New York to come down and play for me over the summer. They would stay with me over the summer. They'd live with me, and it was just giving these guys the opportunity because I was very blessed to get that opportunity to come down here and to play all year round. So I wanted those guys to see what it was like to play down here. The fields up in New York, they're getting better. But the fields I played on when I was growing up were just, I brought my
mm-hmm.
boys up there to look at it, and they just looked at me and said, "You guys play on these kind of fields? There's no fence. You hit a ball in the gap, you got to run." So, they were pretty blown away by how bad the fields were. So it was giving those guys from New York an opportunity to come down and compete. And then we found these guys that come down, they have such a desire because they're so hungry because they only play X amount of months out of the year. So when they come down and they're playing on a beautiful field in beautiful weather all year round, it just
Mm-hmm.
gets addictive. And they have the work ethic because they're brought up with that work ethic up there. and they work hard. And sometimes our guys, I'm not saying my guys down here that live in the Floridians and live down here don't work hard, because they do. We got a great
Mhm.
program at Sefner, and my guys work really hard. But you know what? These guys, sometimes we take things for granted on the great weather all year round, the beautiful fields we play on. And when you're bringing guys down that don't have that, they don't take it for granted, and they just come and work really hard. And it was a great opportunity to work with them. And it's my way of giving back to the New Yorkers that come down here and play, or guys from the Northeast. I was blessed to get an opportunity to come down here, and now it's my opportunity to give back and help them.
And so I'm glad that you mentioned that, coach, because that's one of the things and one of the big reasons why, our homeschool program obviously originated and was established here in New York. But when Tony, the more we thought about it, we said, we really want the Baseball Homeschool Institute to really afford our players the best opportunities. And because of the weather and because of, the challenges that we face with finding fields here in the Northeast, or the weather, of course, is a challenge for us. Tony said, I want to put my boys in the best position, and I want to bring them down to Tampa, where baseball is played all year round, where the weather is conducive for that, where I could train them hard, where they can make the right connections. We were blessed with finding you as one of the coaches that we connected on with for this program. And so how real is that, Coach Sal? How real is it, like, when one of these players that get this opportunity are coming down to Florida and they're competing against some of the best in the country? I mean, you go down to Florida, you're competing against some of the best in the country. For you, that you've experienced baseball on many different levels, youth baseball, and of course, you've run your own organizations, coaching high school ball, and you truly are a baseball family. Both of your boys have played professionally. Am I correct?
Yes,
And
yes,
so you've witnessed that from that perspective as well. So tell me a little bit about, how real is that? How true is it when people say, no, when you come down to Florida and you're competing against the best of the best, you really have to fight?
yes. You have to come down and have that mindset that you're going to compete. The Tampa area alone, the amount of professional ball players that come out of the Tampa Bay area alone is just amazing. Um, you got Lance McCullough that's in the big leagues right now. You had Jose Fernandez that was that played in the big
Mm-hmm.
leagues. You
Yep.
got so many guys that come out of this area that played in the big leagues, and you know what? To get there, it's really hard. You got to be special to make it to the big leagues. Like I said, like you said, both my boys played. My older
Yep.
boy, my older boy, and people get caught up in the college that you go to, and he was going to get drafted out of high school. My older boy, and he was actually ranked higher than Clayton Kershaw going into the 2006 draft. And
Mhm.
he played. He ended up getting drafted by the Red Sox out of high school. He didn't sign. Got drafted out of his junior year by the Pirates. Again, didn't work out. Got drafted after his senior year, so he got his 4-year degree, which is the most important, is getting your college degree.
Right.
Playing pro ball is great, but getting your college degree. He went on and played with the Angels. He made it through Double A, made a Double A All Star team, and you know what? Then he got hurt, and now he's actually still in the game. He's an agent, which is he's
Mhm.
doing very well in being an agent. So he's a partner in a company out of California. So he's doing really well. My other boy, my younger boy Sal, um, he's a catcher. He's still playing. He's still playing with the Braves organization. Who knows what's going to happen with this pandemic, with that whole thing? I just
Mhm.
actually just seen him tonight. He stopped over, and he doesn't think minor league baseball is going to go off this year. But you never. But we're hoping it does, because this is his last year, and then he becomes a free agent. So when you come to Florida and you're competing against these kind of ball players, um, if you don't have the right mindset, you could fall behind very quickly.
Yeah,
And
I
I could
agree.
talk about the two guys that came down this year with your homeschool, and they had the perfect mindset, and they outworked. What they actually did during the fall was they got my guys to work harder to keep up with them. Because me being a New Yorker, don't think I wasn't in their ear and I'm telling them, you're letting a New Yorker outwork you. I wouldn't expect any different. And my guys took offense to it, and they worked harder. So it worked. But you know what? For an example, I use Justin for an example. You know what? Justin would have been probably one of my top three pitchers on the team on my staff this year. And things happen for a reason, and
Right.
everything works out. But it was a great. It's great watching those guys come down, but they got to have the right mindset, because if you don't, I've watched guys come down. They've stayed for two tournaments and don't feel comfortable playing against this talent. And they go back home. They're like, "This is not for me." They can't handle it.
So I'm glad that you shared a little bit about what's happening with your boy and what's happening in the minor leagues. I spoke with a veteran sportscaster yesterday who shared some insider information and is sort of being told that there probably will not be any MLB played this year at all. That's what he's hearing thus far.
Yeah.
But from a parent's perspective, this will be interesting, Coach Sal.
Hmm.
From a parent's perspective, when we're watching our kids, and I speak from experience because our son Anthony played professionally for 2 years, and
Right.
it's tough as a parent because we know our kids' ambitions, we know how hard they work to get to these types of opportunities, and then to hear that this is painful for them. They want to
Yes.
play.
Yes.
In addition to that, there's the financial part to this. So they're not getting paid, especially the
Right.
minor leaguers who are
Right.
already suffering financially. They don't make a lot of money to start with. And then something like this happens. It's tough as a parent to watch this happen, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It's real hard. It's actually we've been very again very blessed. My older boy, his wife was laid off. They don't have any income right now.
Mm,
And so they just moved from Northport, where the Braves spring training complex is, because he was rehabbing from Tommy John surgery.
mm.
They just moved to Jacksonville, and luckily my son's wife's parents are letting them live in the condo by themselves for free. So
What a
they're
blessing.
so it's a blessing, and he's been very smart with his money. He didn't get paid a lot from the Braves, but he didn't spend a lot either. So he was very smart. And you know what? Again, we've been very blessed that if they really need help, it's hard to, as a parent, to watch your kids suffer.
Hmm.
And I always tell people, you know what? When your kids hurt, us as parents, we hurt 10 times more. The kids don't understand that, but we
Right.
hurt 10 times more. But sometimes watching your kids go through a little pain helps them grow and get stronger. And that is
Yeah.
what I've lived by with all three of my kids.
Yeah, and I agree with that, Coach Sal, right? These are all life lessons as well. I always say that baseball overall is such a great metaphor for life, and it
Yes.
teaches our kids such great life lessons that they'll take with them throughout their whole adulthood, right? But I know how hard that can be. So I understand and I feel for you guys, but on the other end, I always like to look. You're a man of faith. I know you are,
Yes.
and you're like us. We leave it all in God's hands, and we say God knows best. And every for like you said, everything has a reason for happening. There's always
It
a
does.
purpose behind everything, right?
Yes,
So
there is.
yeah, I definitely agree with that. So what I wanted us to sort of jump into here a little bit, Coach Sal, and you and I have been dialoguing. Tony has been talking about how we want to move forward now, right? We've learned so much. This particular event that has sort of caused our whole world, in essence, to sort of stop, reflect,
Yep.
think, pay attention, right? Pray more, which is a good thing
Exactly.
for everyone. But it's really been teaching us a lot about how we set up our homeschool program, and I'm so blessed that we did when we did, because our boys haven't really been affected by this. This has been normal for them. They log into their classes every day. They're still taking their
Right.
classes. They're working out with Tony online. So this has been sort of normal for them. But moving forward now, we're talking about how we're going to create even a better opportunity for our players. And so you and I were talking earlier. You got to see a little bit about how, you got to see firsthand how Tony was running the program in Tampa. Can you share from your perspective as a coach, and as a parent who has watched, your own kids play ball and have lived the whole experience with them? Can you share your thoughts on the homeschool program and
Oh
what
yeah,
were your
with,
what was your
without a doubt.
takeaway?
Let me tell you something. It is doing a homeschool program for players and students is a lot of discipline. And one of the things that I watched Tony on a baseball field, one of his biggest things is discipline. And you got to be disciplined to do things right, not just do drills and get through the drill. And no, we're going to keep doing the drill until we do the drill right, and that's going to take you right through school. You got to get on, you got to log on, you got to do your work. I'm actually what I do with my guys. I get online with my guys. We've done a Zoom with everybody. Just check in. I'll send them a text to check in on them. I sent them a workout program that I want them doing. So if we get into the summer,
Right.
we could start working out. But I want them in shape. We
Hmm.
are keeping our fingers crossed and we pray every day. State of Florida is looking at it. I don't think it's going to happen, but they're thinking about trying to be creative with our state tournament going until the end of June. So
Okay.
there's an opportunity that we might have to play, and this has been a great season for us. But watching Tony and watching the program, watching how these guys work out throughout the day, and he has his certain programs that he does, in the morning, then they do their schoolwork, and then he does stuff in the afternoon. He works these guys hard. And you know what? It's going to, I put it out there as it's going to make you or break you. You're going to see what you're made of when you start going through this. You're going to see if this is what you really want. That is the key. If you're going to make it in baseball, you got to really want it, and you got to work hard at it. But more than anything with baseball, you got to be strong in your education. I'll tell parents all the time, you know what? There's more of an opportunity to save money on academic money, an academic scholarship, than a baseball scholarship. Baseball scholarships, people say, "Oh, I got a full ride." There's no full such thing as a full ride in baseball anymore. Those full rides are academic money and baseball money trying to get people to get paid. So watching what Tony does with these kids to me was amazing because I had a lot of my guys, my players working out with Tony too because I was so impressed in watching the drills that he does and just watching the mindset that he has these guys do. And I again coaching next to him, he would say certain words, and this is what used to blow my mind. He'd say a certain word, and all of a sudden something happens. I'm like, wow, where'd that come from? He goes, I just they know, and it was great because that's what kind of connection he has with his players. Is that, and it was a pitcher and a catcher, and he just said one word, and they did something, and we're picking some guy off, or we're doing something. It was crazy, and it used to make me laugh because he's so passionate. And you know what? The best thing about I love about his program is he honestly, in his heart,
Hmm.
he cares about the players. And like coaches on the field, but it's not all about winning and losing. It's all
Absolutely.
about what these kids get after baseball. Because baseball for a lot of these guys are not going to be life. If you go play high school baseball and then go on to play college baseball, that is great. And
So
you know what?
far,
If you play pro ball, that's a cherry on top.
yeah, I am so with you, coach. And that's something that we emphasize through our program diligently all the time to the players. We're like, listen, let this be your stepping stone to a great education. Anything above
Yes.
that, it's like you said, is the cherry on top. So, what are you hearing, coach? Are you hearing in the state of Florida, are they hoping to have some kind of
You
season?
know what? But I think that what they're trying to do is they're trying to put the hope out there for people. I don't think it's going to happen. Be honest with you,
Mm,
I talk to a lot of people that are in politics here in the Tampa market, and no one knows. But they'll numbers on a daily basis on what's going on, and they're just trying to hope for summer. I'm starting to get concerned about summer ball because
mhm.
they're not going to want to bring a bunch of people together in these big baseball tournaments. And I know Perfect Game and all these big organizations are getting nervous because the government might stop them from having a 400 team tournament where you're bringing all these parents in and they're staying in hotels, and it's
Hmm.
scary because we can't afford to have this thing ramp up again in the fall because they'll shut down everything for a year.
Yeah,
It's hard. It's affecting a lot of people's lives. It's a there are people dying, which is horrible enough. But there's a lot of people that are out of work and a lot of people that are going to lose their businesses. We're struggling. We got three businesses and all three are closed. And I'm sitting here at home. I'm retired, thank God. But I'm sitting here at home, and me and my wife are at home, and you know what? We're just trying to get through it, and we're just hoping and praying. God has a plan that we're going to survive when we get to the other side of this with the
yeah,
business. But
yeah.
if we don't, that's God's plan. I put everything at His feet.
Yeah, I agree. As a matter of fact, we have that veteran sportscaster's on with us, and he said, "Yeah, as he said last night, it's all a buzz right now. They're talking about canceling the rest of the year. I know that the state of California has already called. They've pulled the plug on all sports, at least till the end of the summer. I'm understanding. And so, just as you said, Coach Sal, you and I are in the baseball business. This is what we do.
Yep.
You guys not only run your organization, but you have a sporting goods store. So the trickling effect of this goes so much deeper and wider than we can even understand, right? So there's the manufacturers of sporting equipment. There's sporting goods stores. There's I mean, the tournaments, right, that are run throughout the summer and spring seasons.
Right.
I mean, there's so many
My
factors to
baseball my
this. And
baseball
so,
complex. My baseball complex is shut down. The county shut it down. You can't get on it. You can't get into my complex. There's only one person allowed in the complex,
yeah.
and that's me right now. And it's just sitting there, and I got to try to go up there and maintain fields that no one's using. But now I got grass starting to grow in the infield. So
So,
tomorrow's the day
so,
where I do roundup.
so as a true New Yorker, coach, as a true New Yorker, um, what do you tell your players to keep them mentally focused? What are you saying to them?
I'm telling my guys they need to keep working out. They need to keep hitting. I got a batting cage in my backyard. I have guys. I don't have the whole team coming anymore because we're not
Right.
allowed to. But I have one guy at a time. They'll come over and they'll hit in my backyard. I'll throw to them. We'll work. We'll do some drills, just one on one. I don't get close to them. We keep the 6 foot rule up. So they come in. I just throw. They take about 100 swings and then they leave. And then someone else will call me up, and I try to push. I can't make it mandatory. The school won't let me make it mandatory, so I put it out to my ball players, and I tell them, you know what, we got to keep working because if we have an opportunity to play, which I don't think is going to happen, but if it does happen, I want to be ready. We've been very blessed with a great team this year, and I just can't. It's going to be. I think it's going to be the season. What if? You know what? 10 games into the season, we have a below 1 ERA on our team. We're ranked third in the state, and it's going to come down to my seniors are going to leave this year, and it's going to be the what if year. What if we went to the district tournament? What if we made regionals? But they just got to stay focused, and I'm really pushing them on their schoolwork. They're going to make sure they're staying up on the schoolwork. I'm reaching out to the school, making sure they are staying on their schoolwork. Again, to me, education comes first. Um, you're called a student athlete, not an athlete student.
That's
So
right.
when you're a student athlete, you're a student first, and when I coached in college, I recruited in college. I went after a lot of guys with 4.0 GPAs. I probably had one of the smartest baseball programs in the state of Florida when I recruited for Lynn University. Because I went after all the smart ball players, the 4.0s, because I didn't want to have problems with worrying about kids being ineligible.
Hmm.
So that's what I'm just trying to keep my guys focused on that and making sure they're doing their work.
And so one of the things that we are considering, and it's obviously something that we're going to run by you as well. I know Tony wants to talk to you about this. One of the things we're definitely going to do a little differently this year with our homeschools, we're going to offer a 5th year especially because of everything that's happened with, this
Hmm.
corona craziness. Players are going to want to
Yep.
continue to work out. They're going to want the opportunity of that extra year to get ready, present themselves before colleges. Some of our boys have actually already accepted some offers, one of them being in Tampa. So we're super excited about that.
Me
But
too.
yeah, it's going to be fun. And so, that's one of the things I want you to tell us or share with us a little bit, your expertise, D1 versus JUCO. Talk to me a little bit about how much goes into this and how much emphasis
Okay.
some players put on D1 when maybe that's not the best, the best option for them. Talk to us a little bit about your experience with that.
I give Dan a pitch of both my boys. He had 65 college scholarship offers when he was leaving college, when he was leaving high school. He
Mm,
committed to the University of Texas, and the reason why he committed to the University of Texas, he wanted to make mom and dad happy. The D1 school. We've been telling him since he's been a little boy, he's going to be a Longhorn. That's mine and my wife that was our favorite colleges, the Texas Longhorns. Um, my second boy went into his senior year in January, didn't have a scholarship offer yet, and he actually had. We were talking to North Carolina State, a D1 school, and we were talking to a JUCO down in South Florida, Palm Beach. And I use this comment all the time because the Palm Beach State, which is a junior college, said to my son, "Do you want to chase fair balls or foul balls for 2 years?"
mm.
Meaning, you go to a JUCO, you're going to play. You go to a D1, you're going to sit on the bench. I tell parents all the time, if you because everybody thinks D1, everybody wants to go D1 because it's a big prestigious thing. Well, here's the deal. I tell them this is what you want to do as homework before you even start looking at D1s. Go on the website, go on the roster, look how many freshmen they had on the program last year, look how many at bats they got last year, and that'll give you an idea on what you're going to do. So when you go to a lot of these schools, you're going to find out, wow, the freshmen don't play that much. You go to a JUCO, you have 2 years that you're going to play and get better. And if you feel that you're a D1 player, when you go to JUCO after 2 years, then you go to a great D1 school because you're a D1 player. You're going to prove it in JUCOs. Now, one of the things is up north, me and Tony's had this conversation, up in the
Mm-hmm.
Northeast, junior college that had that perception was junior college up north is like grade 13. If you're a baseball player in Florida, you're a draft guy. You go to a junior, you could play in Florida. In Florida, junior college, you're probably a good shot at getting drafted or a good college ball player. So that's where don't get caught up. Parents shouldn't get caught up in D1, D2, D3, NAIA, JUCO. Go where you're going to play. The whole key to this process. The problem is us as parents, they are starting to make this too much into a business with their kids,
At
and
10
they're
years
all
old.
looking at the big. Yeah, exactly. And they're all looking at these big paychecks to the big leagues. But if you know what, go look at how many big leaguers there's been in I think there's only been like 18,000 big leaguers in the history of baseball. You know what?
Mm-hmm.
It's less than a percent. The chance at one point it's in AAA, and you know what's hard to tell your kid. My AAA boy, I keep telling him, you know what? You're not a prospect. You know, I was an associate scout with the Brewers for years, and he's not a prospect. He is good at what he does. He's branded himself well, but he went to a junior college, played 2 years at a junior college. The first year he didn't even catch. First year they had him at third base. Then the second year he caught. He was first team All State. Then he went to Lynn University, which was awesome for me and my wife because we both graduated from Lynn University. He went there, and I'm gonna give you just a quick story. Is my when my wife was pregnant for him, I was the head coach at Lynn. I was throwing batting practice. She was sitting in a dugout when she went into labor.
Wow.
So it was so wild that he went to that school. I'm like, you know what? We go back for the game. Like you were almost born in this dugout. So that's what he called. That's just that it's fun, but we make it into a business. And when he went to Lynn University, first year he didn't catch. He played third base. The second year he caught, and the second year he was Sunshine Conference Player of the Year, Southeast Region Player of the Year. So for Division II team. And then he got drafted by the Braves, and now he's been with the Braves. This is his fifth year with the Braves. So, you know what? If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. Here's the deal: I tell all my ball players: at the end of the rainbow, because your baseball career is going to end one day. You could look yourself in the
Mm-hmm.
mirror and say, you know what? I gave it 100%. I gave it all I got, and I didn't make it. Then you could sleep at night. But if you don't give it
Well, and it
100%, and you don't, at the end of the rainbow, and your baseball career is over, you know what? You're going to always say, "What if?"
And that's a good perspective, Coach Sal, because one of the things that I always share with my boys, right? There's a few things that I tell my boys as a woman. I'm straight up with my boys. I tell them, listen, first things first, stay away from the women. If you're serious about this
Oh yeah,
baseball thing, you better stay away from the girls. That's the first thing. Second thing is I tell them is keep an open, mind. Not everybody's going to be is meant to become a major league baseball player, but there's so many other opportunities in the baseball realm that you
yes,
can consider for yourself if you really love the game, right? Coach Tony, played and got to play at very high levels, but at the end of the day, he now shares his gifts and talents with the youth. That's his gift for him to
so
share
much
it
more
now with the
rewarding.
young ones. I agree. And so, that's something that I always tend to, sort of implant or, sort of want them. I seed them with that because I tell them, you may not be the next, major league baseball player, but if this is in your blood, if this is what you love to do, then take it and make use of it in another way in the sport. Right? You can become a physical
Yep,
therapist for baseball players. You can become an agent. You can open up a sports goods store. You can
yep.
teach the youth. You can open up a facility. You
Be a
can
coach.
be a coach. You can I mean, there's so many wonderful things you can still do in the sport and still keep yourself surrounded by baseball. I mean, ultimately there's so many great opportunities.
But
And
you want to think?
so
I wanted to share a quick story too, and I was saying about parents thinking at a young age, so young with some of these kids thinking that they are going to be the next Derek Jeter. I had a boy
mhm,
that played for me from the time he was 10 to the time he was 12 years old. He couldn't catch, he couldn't hit, he couldn't throw, he couldn't run. But he had it in his heart that whatever I told him to do, if I said you're going to get better at running through that fence, he'd say head down or head up. And you know what? When he turned 14, because I had my assistant coaches on my travel team, like we need to get rid of him. He's not helping us. He had it in his heart, and the kid worked so hard.
mm,
By the time he was 14, all of a sudden it started to grow and started to click for him. Ended up going to the University of Florida on almost a full scholarship. Ended up graduating from the University of Florida, getting drafted by the Twins in the second round, making a good chunk
mm.
of money, made it to AAA, and that was it. But you know what? He was one guy off that team that no one, when he was 11, 12, 10, no one would ever think he was going to play high school baseball. But you don't know. You just
Yeah,
don't know. Parents need to sit back and enjoy their kids playing. The process. Let's teach them discipline. Let's teach them. You got to hold them accountable for working out and doing their best. Let's teach them discipline on everything they do about the game. But start to step back and say, you know what? I'm going to enjoy watching my boy play because I can't say that with my boys. Everybody always says to me, "Oh, both your boys played pro ball. You must be." I am so proud of them, but I'm more proud of what they do off the field than what they did on the field.
amen.
I didn't get to enjoy their growing up and playing ball because I was that guy that was always driving them and driving them and driving them. And I look back on it now, and I got a lot of regrets for it because I didn't get to enjoy it. One day when I went to watch my younger boy play, and I used to get frustrated, and I would just close my book and leave. I wouldn't stay when I got frustrated. And my older boy came to me one night and said, "Why don't you go to a game not being a coach or a scout? Just
Mm,
be a dad."
Mm.
You talk about a punch between the eyes. You know what? It was something that was very. And I want parents to do that. Go and watch your kids enjoy them because they're having fun. Yeah, don't make it. It's all about fun and not being disciplined and learning and working hard. But go watch them and enjoy it. Take that time because you know what? We don't know how much time we have on this earth, and I don't want anybody missing anything.
Yeah,
So that's where my heart's at.
and this is a perfect example, right, Coach? Right now, my heart goes out to our seniors who were so
Yep.
enthusiastic about playing this last year. You know, this being a big year for for
Yes.
players. And so my heart goes out to those players. My heart goes out to those parents because how
Yep.
many of them perhaps lost other opportunities thinking, oh, I'll catch his senior year, or I'll be able to go to some of those games, and here we are, we may not even have a season this year.
They're what do you call? They are right now. I know the NCAA is opened up where they're giving their seniors, which is going to hurt recruiting classes because they're letting guys that were seniors this year get an extra year of playing.
Mm-hmm.
So if their seniors are coming back, what happens with scholarship money? All of a sudden, they're
Yep.
waiting on to giving little Johnny, hey, I'm going to give you $10,000 towards baseball, but now I got Joey coming back. Is going to be a senior again. I got to give him I don't have money for you anymore. So it's a big concern out there, and that's why I think your post grad
Mm-hmm.
program for that year
Yep.
is going to be like a reset switch to give guys a year, get to some college classes ahead, because going in as a freshman is rough. And you know what, with classes wise, so this is going to give you a little head start on college, and you don't lose a year of eligibility. And if you're working out with Tony, you're getting better. And you know what, you find teams to play for. There's teams out there that play that's not a college team, and you're not losing that eligibility. You get the work in, and you're going to get better. So now it gives you another year to hook up with a school. And I have a
And
couple seniors that I have that I'm actually recommending to the program because they just started making that little curve on the way up. That they really the light bulb went off, and they're starting to be better ball players. I'm going to try to push them to do that post grad because I think they'll be better off.
yeah, and as part of the post grad program, what we're also going to implement is college, so AP credits, so that when they actually do finish, they'll actually be starting out college with some college credits already, because we want to help put them in the right position as
Right.
early as possible. Um, and so, Coach, let me ask you this: New Yorker, what's your favorite baseball team?
You're gonna laugh. Cincinnati Reds. The
Ah,
Cincinnati Reds, the Big
and
Red Machine. I
why?
grew up watching the Big Red Machine. I grew up watching the Big Red Machine. I love Pete Rose and Johnny Bench and Joe Morgan and Tony Perez and Will McInerney. I love those guys. Jack Billingham. That's what I grew up watching. You know what? To keep my mind going and sane, I've been actually watching. I've watched the 75 and 76 World Series a couple times already. So it's been fun to
Uh-huh.
watch
Yep.
again. But you know what? The only New York team I like, and people laugh, but the only New York team I like is the Islanders. And I
And
make
I
my trips to New York, go see the Islanders game. I'm dying without any hockey. I'm dying.
um so I know that you and I have also spoken about this, and although obviously you're a New Yorker, but you're a Reds fan. I think I've shared with you I'm a huge Yankee fan. That is my team. I absolutely love them. I'm a huge Yankee fan mostly because of George Steinbrenner. I loved him as a man. I loved him as a business person. And
Yep.
I'm sure that you've heard that his son Hank Steinbrenner passed away yesterday at the very young age of 63. I mean, that's very young.
So sad.
Yeah,
So sad.
and I think that for those of us that we love baseball, regardless of whatever our favorite team is, I think we all would agree that the Yankees have had a huge a huge impression on the baseball world. George Steinbrenner changed so much of what happens in the game. um, Tampa is a huge Yankee town.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And And so none of that has rubbed off on you yet?
No, you know what? I have this Yankees. I've liked the Yankees as my right now. My second team is the Yankees because I got so many friends that were Yankee fans, and then, I was a big Derek Jeter fan. He was a class act on and off the field. Andy Pettit, oh that crew, and I watch them, and you know what? I'll root for them when they make the playoffs. If they ever face the Reds again, I'm gonna have to face the Reds, but I don't think that's gonna happen for many years with the Reds. But it is what it is. Um, you know what? The Yankees. I've always said this to my boys. One of my proudest days would have been seeing one of my boys put a Yankee uniform on,
Hmm. But you
being
know
from New
what?
York.
But you know what, Coach Sal, and I'll tell you this, and I tell you this now as a friend. We know each other now for a little while. The greatest gift that you've given your boys is who they've become as men.
Yes,
That is their greatest
yes.
gift. And I got to spend a little time with one of your sons, and I have to tell you, complete gentleman. He's such a gentleman. And for that, you should be incredibly
Uh,
proud. Incredibly proud.
So proud of both of them, what they've become off the field, the stuff that they do. My younger boy one day just blew me away, and when he was in with the Carolina Mudcats, he called me up one day and he said to me, "Hey, Dad, I just want to let you know I just came back from the elementary school." I said, "What'd you go to elementary school for?" "I just went asked the principal if I could have lunch with some of the kids in the lunchroom." And he went to the lunchroom, just had
Mm,
lunch with a bunch of the kids at the elementary school, the local school, and just promoting the Mudcats. And he did it on his own. Stuff like that just blows me away. The kid doesn't make much money in the minor leagues, and he has sponsored kids and you know what? He's very blessed. And we were all blessed, and I appreciate the compliment. But you know what? I'm going to take that compliment. I'm going to shift it right to my wife because she was the one. I'll take
absolutely.
I'll take like 5% of the credit. Now, when it comes to baseball, I'll take about 50% of the credit of getting them where they are. They'll take the other 50%. But when it comes to how they are off the field, I'm gonna put that all on my wife. She's been just an unbelievable supporter of me and all three of my kids. My daughter was never into sports, but you know what? She's just like the boys, just she's so blessed, and all three of them are they all three of the kids have gotten me back into my walk with Christ, which has been pretty incredible because I got away from the church a while, and then I watched my boys and my daughter how how they were living their
Mm.
lives, and it blew me away. And you know what? They got me back. They got me back to church, and it was incredible. So I'm very proud of all three of them.
And I will say this as well. I've gotten to spend some time with Laurel as well, and I can definitely attest to that. Beautiful soul. You could see how supportive she is of you and baseball in your
Yes.
home with your boys. So
Yep.
you can feel that it's palpable in your home. You can feel the love, and you can feel the genuine care that you guys share, not only with each other but with anyone that encounters you guys
I
as a
appreciate
family.
that.
Yeah,
Really appreciate that.
you hosted us last over the summer. You hosted us, and our boys came over, and you guys were so gracious. Took care of us, fed the boys, and they got to meet and spend some time too with Sal. And Sal
Yep.
got to get in their ear and shared good words of wisdom with them. And so brother, I am proud to say that we now have made such a great connection with you and your family. We are thankful for you. We will continue to pray for you and your boys, your dogs. Tony said,
Oh, can't
let's not
forget my
forget the
dogs.
dogs.
You can't forget my dogs.
You're like us, we're real dog
They're not gonna know
lovers.
what to do when this all opens up and I start leaving the house again. I just been
But
loving them up. It's been great.
you and I will continue to talk. We'll continue to develop what we're hoping to come up with for the 2021 at academic
Okay,
athletic season for the Baseball Homeschool Institute. But
great.
one thing that we're definitely sure about, Coach, is that we made the right connection with the right coach in Tampa, Florida.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you guys have been such a blessing to me. I have just it. You know what? You know when you have that connection right away. And when me and Tony met in those tournaments, I knew we had the right connection. And then when I got to meet you, it just was the icing on the cake. I'm so blessed to have you guys part of my family, and it's been a great ride. And I'm looking so forward to the future when it's all this craziness goes away and we get back to normal. And you know
Yeah,
what? We just pray about it, and God could push His finger, and you know what? It'll all go away tomorrow. So
yeah.
we
And
just pray to Him.
one of the things, coach, and this is how I know that God intertwined all of this. So our homeschool program is a Christian-based program. Um, you are the high school coach for Sefner Christian Academy, and
Yes,
you love the Lord. And I said, it's so like God to bring people together who are on the same mission and have the same vision to impact these young people through something that we love, through something that
exactly,
becomes the vessel. Baseball is the vessel that we use to impact the youth. And
exactly.
so it's so like God to intertwine folks that are on the same mission with the same purpose. And so we have about 9 minutes left. I want to open it up to anyone that has any questions. I want to thank everyone that's, already posted and made some comments. If you have any questions specifically, we have with us a coach that has over 30 years experience in this, guys. So if you have any questions, he is the person to tap into. This is the perfect time to ask the questions because he'll be more than happy to answer them. So we will continue to develop this program, Coach Sal. Obviously, with God's blessing, God's anointing, God's direction, protection, and we will continue to
Hmm.
ask him how exactly he wants us to continue to develop this program, because as you and I know, this is a tough business. This is not an easy business to be in.
Yes.
It's
No,
very tough.
not at all. And it's getting tougher and tougher every day. Um, and not even with the craziness. It's just like we got into the conversation a little earlier about parents, and it's getting tough to because sometimes you don't want to steal a parent's dream on how great their kids is, but it's not the right thing to do is not to tell the truth. You need to be honest with parents, and sometimes parents don't like you for being honest with them, and it's hard. It's really hard to do, but sometimes they understand me. Sometimes they a little nervous to talk to me because I'm a New Yorker. Because I'm going to be
Mhm.
straightforward with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. I'm not going to lie because you know what? When I go home at night, I got to put my head on the pillow and I go to sleep because I know I'm truthful and being honest with people. And I've
Yeah,
been through
I
it, and
I
I don't want to
agree.
hurt people and I don't want to hurt players. But I'll never give up on a player. If he's got to give up on himself before I give up on a player, and that's even hard to do when they give up. So, but if there's any
Ab-
questions, I'm
yeah,
glad to.
yep. Oh, okay. So here's a question from one of our parents. What are your thoughts about reclassing?
I got a split feeling on it. Depends on what grade they're in, and it depends on your birthday. If you are going to be the youngest kid in the class at your senior year, if you reclass, it's not a bad thing. If you're reclassing just for baseball or just for a sport, it's not a smart move. Okay, I just don't believe in it. I believe everybody just work harder. If you're playing with older guys, work harder at it. But if you're there are some kids that are right on the edge of being the youngest kid in the class for their senior year, and back in eighth grade, their parents were holding back a year, so now they're not the youngest kid in their class; they're the oldest kid in their class. But I just feel doing the reclassing is doing the right thing. Education is the number one priority. Don't reclass for a sport just because you're going to be older and better, because it's going to catch up to you eventually anyway.
I
Hopefully that
agree.
answers the
Yeah,
question.
that That's a great perspective, Coach. So we will be putting out some more information about the Baseball Homeschool Institute. If anyone is wanting info, I just want to let everyone know we are sending out a link that will give you tons and tons of information, but you could always go into the website. It is www.thebhi.com. That's THE/BHI.com. Coach, we have about 5 or 6 minutes left. Share with me your thoughts. If there isn't baseball this year, for whatever reason, whether they, states decide, that they're not going to do it, what should players do to really stay focused and get ready? Because next season's going to come regardless.
Yeah, what I'm doing with my players. I can speak for my high school. What I'm doing with my players, like I said, I gave them all a workout program. It's a 5-day a week workout program. They got different things they got to do every day. I try to set a challenge up with other schools, having guys videotape themselves doing some drills, just to build a competition up with other baseball programs. Didn't really fly as well as I thought it would, but they need to be ready. We don't have time, and I'm stressing to my boys, if this thing does open up and the tournament, if they're going to say, you know what, we're going to push the state tournament through the end of June, because in Florida we finish school the end of May, so if they're going to go until the end of, go right to district tournament, then it's regionals, and then it's states. So we don't have time to guys sitting at home eating chips all day playing Xbox. You guys need to be swinging a bat. You need to be lifting weights. You need to be doing your conditioning. You need to be doing all that stuff that which you can do on your own. It doesn't stink that they got to do it on their own, yes. But you know what? This will separate the guys who want it and the guys who don't. It will separate, make it very, very obvious. The guys that want it. I see some of my players that come over and hit. I got one of my players. He's my ace on the mound. His goal is to lose 10 pounds. He's down 7, and he is lifting and working out every day. And he hits in my cages 3 times a week. He'll come over and take 100 to 200 swings 3 times a week, and he does it on his own. No one's forcing him. That's a guy that wants it. He's a guy that, he's talking D1. We'll see what happens.
So let me ask you this, Coach Sal. How many of your players, and I know that there have been a lot of them, how many of your players have gone on to play not only in college, but
The pro
professionally?
Ball,
Yep.
I had, out of my organization, is probably about, I'm going to say, 25 guys that went on to play
Awesome.
pro ball. 25 to 30 guys have gone on to play pro ball. And that is, you know what? That is back when the boys were coming through. The Warriors first started the Bullets organization at 10 years old. My one son was 10. There was only like 4 or 5 teams in the area. And you go play doubleheaders on Sunday, and there'd be a half-season tournament and then an end-of-the-year tournament. But then everybody realized that there's a lot of money made in tournaments, so now everybody plays tournaments every weekend, which is not developing players, because most of these coaches think that trophy and that medal of a championship is making kids better. And parents jump from team to team to team because they always want to be on a winning team. Well, you know what? Let's develop kids, especially in a younger age. We had to develop kids, and I loved when we used to play double headers and just go and play a couple tournaments a year, because it was more about practicing and getting kids better. Now you don't practice because you play 3 tournaments a month, and it's crazy. It's really crazy. This spring was the first season in 21 years I didn't coach a travel ball team. Because my high school team was so strong. I had to put 100% of my effort into developing that high school team to make sure that we had the season we did. And then, you know what, this whole pandemic started. So it is what it is.
And I know that Tony shares that same testament with you. Tony hates tournaments. He feels like it's ruined a lot of the players. It's ruined baseball as a whole. It has made parents feel like they need to put their kid on 3 and 4 different teams because they feel this pressure that they need their kid to be, to outshine everyone else and outplay everyone else. And at the end of the day, it has really ruined the game overall. And it's caused a lot of animosity too, because you have these kids that are playing with one organization and then they're hopping around to all these different teams. I remember when we first started our facility over 13 years ago, we were the first real baseball facility ever in the Bronx to open up that way. And then we developed teams. And I have to tell you, people often ask me, what was the hardest thing for you during the time that you had your brick and mortar? And I always say it was the teams. And it really
Yep.
even wasn't because of the kids. It was because there was so much drama a lot of times with parents.
Right. Yeah, the
And,
parents,
you know,
they just, again, the kids, I tell my parents all the time, when your kid strikes out on the field and when your kid makes an error, that's not a reflection of you. That's a reflection of me as a coach. I need to work harder.
right.
When your kid strikes out and comes in a dugout and throws his helmet, that's a reflection of you.
Amen.
And that's where parents need to be, stop putting pressure on themselves and stop putting pressure on their kids. Hold them accountable of working hard, like I said before. I'm not saying making an easy ride, be that, okay, Johnny, it's okay. You didn't work out all week. You struck out 6 times this week, and it's all good. No, I'm not telling that. Hold them accountable, make them work hard. But don't make it a business. Don't make it like it's going to make me a lot of money. Because people used to say to me, my oldest son, they used to say to me and my wife all the time, what are you guys going to do when he gets signed for a couple $1,000,000? Because he was
Mm.
supposed to be the Mets' first pick that year. And we had a deal the night before the draft, didn't work out, but I'm not going to get into it. That's a whole nother hour. But
Right,
you know
right.
what? But you know what? It didn't work out, but God had a plan. But the bottom line is, people always say, what are you going to do with them? It ain't my money. What do you mean, what am I going to do with it?
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
got a plan what he's going to do with it. It's his money. He worked, he earned it, he deserved it. And that's where the bottom line is. It's all about, it's not a reflection of you. I'm not any more of a person because both my boys played pro ball than if both my boys didn't play pro ball. Doesn't make me any better of a person.
I
So
agree.
that's the situation is I want to give back what God blessed me with on my knowledge and my talent to teach. I just want to give back to kids, and I actually do a lot of coaching with parents now, trying to give them. Well, I was that guy in the dugout that you used to look across the field that when my kids were growing up and saying that guy shouldn't be around kids because I was
Mm.
that guy that was yelling and screaming like a Raven Banshee. And I regret it to this day. I regret it. And you don't want to be at 58 years old and look back on your kids growing up and saying, I regret that I used to yell at them on a baseball field every day. It's just not right. And you know what? I talked to my boys about it. I apologized to my boys about it. And you know what? They both said to me the same exact thing, and it was separate times. Dad, I wouldn't be the guy I am today if you didn't do what you did. That was you.
Right,
So I'm
because at
so
the end
blessed
of
to
the
have them being
day,
understanding.
and at the end of the day, I know that both your boys knew that deep, at the bottom of all of it, it was that you really wanted the best for them, right? You wanted,
Yeah.
at the
They
core,
knew I
that's
loved them.
what that was really all about, right? Absolutely.
They just
So
need to
I'm gonna
know. They
leave
just
you.
need to know you're loved.
Absolutely, I agree.
Players need to know they're loved. And my guys at my school and all the guys I've coached, they know when they do well, I will be the first one there to hug them. And that picture that you got up on there now, I had that kid. He never told me he had asthma. He ended up in the hospital. I had him running so bad. He ended up in the hospital that day. And that's me at the hospital with him. But you know what? When they do bad, then I'm going to be the first one there to kick them in the butt. But they got that
Yep.
balance. But they know my love for them is stronger than my when I get angry.
Absolutely. So I'm going to leave you with this, Coach. I want to thank you so much for being here with me tonight. Sharing your knowledge, your wisdom, and just being able to dialogue with you here tonight has been a real blessing. But Tony wants you to know, he wrote this and he said, please tell him that he is one of the best people that he has ever had the privilege to coach with. And coming from my husband, and Tony and I've been together almost 32 years. I've seen Tony coach, and he's very passionate, very devoted to his craft. And he's like you, he really, really loves his players. And when he says something like that, he truly means it. And he says that you are one of the
Right back
best
at him.
people that he's ever had the privilege to coach with. And he's excited that Jose Silva will be down in Tampa
Me
come
too.
next season. Yeah, because that means we get to spend a lot more time with Coach Sal.
Yep, without a doubt. I'm excited about him being here. And you know what? Go right back at Tony, man. I love coaching with him. I love him as a person. He has just done so much good for me, and um, I can't, like I said earlier, I can't be tell you how blessed I am to have you guys in my life and my family's life. So thank you so much. It's been an honor to come on here and do this with you guys tonight. And you know what? I really appreciate you guys asking me.
And we will obviously we'll share more information as we continue to develop the baseball homeschool program for this upcoming year. You and I will talk some more, and I will continue to share the information. In the meantime, have a wonderful night, Coach, and I will be in touch soon.
Okay, Jesse, and
All my
if anybody else has any questions they think of after they want, if you want to put my email out there, they can shoot me an email or shoot you an
Yeah,
email. You can send it to me. That'd be fine.
you know what, Coach Sal, if you're comfortable with that and you want to share your information, why don't you tell people how they might be able to reach out to you?
My email. You could take my email address down if you want to send me an email. It's SGIARDINA44 at gmail.com. So feel free to shoot me an email if you have a question. I'll get back to you. I don't check my email every day, so just be patient. But I will get back to you one way or the other.
And I know that you're on Instagram. What is your
I am on
Instagram?
Instagram. It's the same thing. SGiardina44. And if you
Awesome,
go to
Coach.
if you see an SGiardina21, that's my younger son. All
Um,
right.
so so thank you so much for sharing that, Coach. And again, you and I will be in touch. We'll continue to develop the baseball homeschool program, and we look forward to seeing you real
You
soon
got it.
in Tampa when we go back.
Thank you so much. You guys stay safe up there. Thank you.
All right, Coach. Have a good
Bye
one.
bye.
So everyone that was on with us tonight, thank you so much. Milagros, I will send you his information through inbox. If you're asking particularly about his email, his Instagram is sgrdina44 if you want to take a look or connect with him at all through his Instagram. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight. I appreciate everyone that connected, anyone that asked any questions. We appreciate that. And as I mentioned, Baseball Homeschool Institute, we are now taking registrations for the 2021 academic athletic year. So if you have any questions about that, please feel free to inbox us. We will send you information. You can also look up the Baseball Homeschool Institute at the BHI, that's THE/BHI.com. We'll be more than happy to answer all of your questions. Spots are limited. We're only taking 30 players for the upcoming year. And we are introducing that post-grad year, which simply means that if you are a high school player, senior, and you're wanting to get one extra year in to play or to practice or to train and develop yourself so you can present to colleges appropriately, then this would definitely be the program that you're going to want to look into. Coach Sal Giardina is the coach that we are connected with in the Tampa area. He has been phenomenal at what he has helped us develop in Tampa. The homeschool this year will start in New York. We will be starting it in New York this year. The program itself had originated in New York, and we ran our first official year down in Tampa. But because of everything that has occurred, Coach Tony and I are back in New York. We will get the baseball homeschool program running in New York. And then this is what's going to be really cool is that then come February through May, those players will be in Tampa. And so if you want more information about the program, again, feel free to inbox us. It's Coach Tony Melendez, or my name on Facebook is Jesse Rodriguez Melendez. Feel free to send us a message through Messenger, and we will send you more information about the program. So we want to thank everyone again that came on and joined us tonight. I want to thank Coach Sal Giardina again for so humbly coming on, sharing his time and his knowledge with us here tonight, shedding some um, insight on what's happening in the Tampa area with sports this year, as we are all paying close attention to what will happen with the 2020 season and beyond. I mean, we from what we're hearing, there probably will not be any sports played this year, and so we're keeping a close eye and ear to what will be happening, not only in New York, but of course for us in Tampa, Florida. So thank you so much again, and I will look forward. Stay tuned, because I will be bringing on a very special surprise guest soon. And when that's confirmed, I will share the information on that. That should be the early part of next week. So good night and stay blessed and safe. I'll see you all soon.